In this video, we'll explore named views while continuing to build upon our blog post application. Like before, let's start by looking at the finished demo. In this application, when I click the Blog Posts tab, the router view components here renders the blog post greeting page. Now, if I click on a specific blog post, two things appear: the details of the clicked blog post and a sidebar displaying related advertisements. However, for the blog post greeting page, no advertisement is shown. What's happening behind the scenes? Here, we're actually displaying two views at the same time, one for the blog post content, the other for the ads sidebar. Can we render multiple views simultaneously? Absolutely. So instead of using a single router view outlet in the blog posts component, here we defined two named outlets to display both views. Now, let's jump into VS Code and implement this. Right now, I'm on this branch, View Router Nested Routes, Dynamic Route Matching. This is the branch from the previous video. First, let's create a new Git branch from this previous branch. Git branch view router named views. Git switch view router named views. Please note that we're now on branch view router named views. Let's start the application. But first, let's start the JSON server. npx JSON server db.json. And in a different terminal, npm run dev. Let's define the ads view. So here, let's put an h3 title, sponsored ads, and here let's put some advertisement links, href, https, example.com, add one, then copy, paste. So here is add two, add three, two, three. And don't worry about the script and the CSS. It's just a very simple advertisement page. So here, for simplicity, I've hard-coded the advertisement. However, in a real-world application, we can dynamically fetch related ads based on the clicked blog post. For example, if a user clicks on a tech-related blog post, we can display ads for laptops, coding courses, or software tools. If they click on a travel blog, we can show ads for flights, hotels, or travel gear, and so on. Next, let's modify the blog posts component and add this ads component to it. As you can see right now, there is a side, which is the list of blog posts, and here is the mem. There's only one router view outlet. And we use this router view to render the blog post content, like the ID, title, and the detailed content. But since we need to display both the blog post and the advertisement side by side, let's define a second router view. So let's copy and paste. So what happened? The two router views render the same view component, blog post. So the blog post is rendered twice, one here and one here, because view router assigns unnamed router view components the default outlet. That's why the blog post is rendered in these two default outlets. However, recall that we want the first router view to render the blog post content, but the second one to display a different component, as.view component. Then how do we do this? We need to use named views. Let's give the second router view a name. And let's call this router view sidebar. As you can see, the second blog post disappeared. The blog post component is only rendered in this unnamed or default router view. Okay, then how do we make the as, this component, show up in this sidebar router view? Let's go to the router configuration file. So it's right here, /blog posts. It has two child routes. And we're interested in the second child route or subroute. So right now, there's only one component registered under this route, blog post. But recall that we want to display two components, blog post and as. So let's delete this and change this one to components. There is one default router view, and we're going to use it to render blog post. And the second router view is called sidebar, and it is used to render as. And make sure you import it here. Okay, so hopefully you can understand the meaning of this route. /blog posts, and this is the name, and this is the component, blog posts. Here we have a list of blog posts, and on this side, we have the content. If we're not providing any param, just accessing /blog posts, then this component, blog posts greeting, is rendered in the default view router. However, if we are accessing /blog posts / the ID of a blog post, then two views will be rendered. The blog post will be rendered in the default router view, similar to the blog posts greeting, and as will be rendered in the second router view. And this one is called a named view. As you can see, the advertisement component is successfully rendered here. Next, let's add some CSS to blog posts.view. So here, let's change the class name from blog post content to blog post content with sidebar. Because now we want the blog post here and the sidebar in the second router view. So this name is more descriptive. And let me put some comments here. This is the default router view, and this is the named router view. Okay. We can also give a class name here. Class blog post content. Okay. Then let's scroll down and let's cut this and define blog post content with sidebar, display flex, and flex is 0, 0, 75%. And we also have blog post content flex is 1. Take up the remaining space. Okay, so let me make it large and test. So this is good. Here, first one, second one, third one. Ideally, when we navigate to different blog posts, the ads will change as well, right? And here, let me just add another width to be 100%. Okay, let me push the branch to GitHub. Named views. Git push. In this video, we explored named views in View Router and learned how to display multiple views simultaneously in the demo. Here, the first router view, the unnamed one, will automatically receive the default component, which is blog post. The second router view, named sidebar, will display the ads component. This approach allows for greater flexibility in structuring layouts, making it easier to manage different content sections dynamically. In the next video, let's explore programmatic navigation in View Router. See you there.